Wonderful. Welcome, everyone, to today's meeting of the Historical and Architectural Review Board for June 4th. First item on the agenda is a call to order. Call to order. Second item is Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Next order of business is approval of meeting minutes from April 2nd, 2025. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay, we'll move on to old business. The first application there is DRB 2025-06, 323 Midland Avenue. We have, heard this one before, so if you'd like to just do a quick summary of the proposed changes versus the last time, and we'll go from there. Thank you.
So since we last talked, some of the comments from you guys were that it was a little too short and lean and looked a little 50s style. So we didn't change the footprint at all, but we did. So here are the proposed elevations. At the rear, we matched that roof pitch that was already on the house. We broke it down so that it has more of a stepping down. So this is the addition here. So we basically have 2-story, and then it steps down to a taller 1-story. In addition to that, I'll switch to the other. So we matched a lot of the details from the original house, including kind of these brackets. We added stone along the base that matches the existing stone. We have a brick chimney that matches the existing brick chimneys. And we went for kind of more of a conservatory look to it instead of just one big 1-story long mass. And then, the other side stayed the same. And so here you can see that stepping down to the first level.
And the bottom right is the view from the street?
Yes. So this is it right back here. So, in trying to connect it a little bit better to the original house, I think, tying in the brick helped, and then some of the detailing, just, trying to make it look more cohesive.
Great. So my 2 cents, I think this is great. I think it's a, significant improvement in terms of, architectural, historical accuracy versus the prior one. The stepping down, I think, is important for this type of Victorian house. And I like the integration of the chimney as well. I think the massing, I think, is much more sympathetic to the existing mass of the original structure.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Motion for a certificate of appropriateness?
Second that.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Nicely
Great
Oh,
job.
thanks. And I'll stay up because I have another one.
Oh. I was wondering who was going to present that. Okay, we are moving on to new applications for board review. This is HARB 2025-08, 203 Midland Avenue, 2-story addition at the side of the house and 1-story mudroom extension. Interestingly, in the Radnor Historical Survey, there's absolutely no information on this home, which I thought was odd, but it's, a craftsman-style house, I assume, late 1910s or 1920. So if you want to go ahead and, review the proposed changes.
Sure. So this is just down the street, also on Midland. Here's the existing house from the street. Here's the site plan that shows where the addition will be, just to the side of the house, but also set back from the main facade. Here are some existing house photos. So the addition will be kind of on this side of the house over here. And this is the rear. And so this is basically where the mudroom addition will go. There aren't really that many similar houses around there, so, but, you know, obviously, here's the neighbors' houses. You can see they have a pretty, they have a pretty substantial addition that was put on their house. So we would be going on their side. So in terms of the architecture, I think it's easiest to see from the side view. This is the addition right here. So as you can see, we're trying to match the roof line and also kind of the shed dormer look, but keep it smaller so that the historical side really stands out more. So, and then just in terms of windows, we tried to match as much as we could without, you know, but we still have to meet some egress standards. And then at the rear, here's the little mudroom addition. You can't see it from the street. So here's the addition right here. Again, you can kind of see we're trying to match that roof line as much as possible. We set it back a little bit. And then we're also doing a proposed dormer at the rear of the house, but that's not going up above the existing roof line.
Okay. It looks like materials-wise, this is going to match the existing home?
Yes.
Okay. Great.
I did drive the street, and there are probably 4 to 5 other houses on the street that have put additions on the sides of the house, and this one looks to be more in line with the architecture of the house than the other ones have.
Thank you.
The one next door needed a dormer on it to match the other dormers as opposed to not having it. And the other houses down the road have smaller additions of maybe just a room on the side of the building. It kind of, this one fits in much better with the style of the house.
Thanks. And we also, you know, part of the reason to push it back just a little bit was also to keep the existing window on these windows, which I think are important to the house.
Are you commenting on anything that's not able to see from the street?
Not really. Generally, no. I think it would have to be egregious for us to make a comment on something that's not particularly visible.
What
Why do you ask?
prompts your question?
Yeah, please go
Are
on.
you going to take off now?
I just was wondering why I'm here. I guess.
Oh, you're on the third one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm serious.
I think the size of what your change was.
Well, I don't want to take your time.
Go ahead.
I guess, in addition to that, I would say, you might as well, you should really, right? Because architecture is just not.
The front,
the
it's
side.
all around.
They have neighbors on the, that live on the side, or they have neighbors.
Well, the previous one was the back of the house,
Yeah.
and it was slightly visible from the street, and it totally didn't fit with what the house was the first time it was presented. So it did go back. And other things have been presented that were in the rear of the house that didn't match the architecture of the house, and they were reviewed and revised.
Yeah.
I think
So, yes, it does come into consideration.
Here in the ordinance, if it's what your purview is, because you get sort of different
Yeah.
answers from different people, right?
Right.
I'm with you, I think it's important to look at everything, because everybody's gonna look at it from all sides, so, I think the design is appropriate, my 2 cents matter, so.
Well, thank you.
Well, if you live in Radnor, you can sit up here.
Yeah. Yeah. I think some of the flexibility in, sort of the purview, I think is actually kind of appropriate, because then it gives us a little bit of leeway and wiggle room so that, if something's sort of cuspy, if it's totally sort of hidden, we can go one way. If it's, deeply incongruous, we can sort of step into that. But, kind of to that point, I don't think it's been very explicitly defined, and I wonder if that's somewhat purposeful.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
You're within the setbacks? of
Yes.
the Side yard, but the existing is non-conforming?
Yes, and we do need to apply for a variance for the the aggregate side yards.
Got it. Which is what, 35?
Oh, I'm not sure offhand.
I think
Was
it's
it
35.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's terrific as well.
Yeah, I think personally, I like how you've matched the roof lines, the secondary mass is subordinate to the primary mass, yet still sort of matching it both in terms of the roof line and the dormer style. So I think it's quite nice.
Great, thank you.
Okay.
One comment on the side elevation. Are you proposing a step inside the house, or are the windows not matching up just for a reason? It looks like the heads are at a different height.
Oh, no, they will be at the same height.
Okay.
I'm not sure where it says.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. That might just be a trick of the rendering software.
Okay.
I think we had that a few months ago as well, where it looked like they weren't matching up. And I was like,
Yeah.
no, it's okay.
No, they're definitely,
Yes,
they will
yes.
line up.
Great.
It's the last thing I do.
Is there a motion for a certificate of appropriateness?
I move to issue a certificate of appropriateness.
I second. All those in favor, say aye.
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 All right, thank you so much.
Motion passes. Thank you. Okay, next order of business, Harb 2025-9, 320 Luella Ave. Another repeat visitor, but, you know, very quickly, just kind of go through what the changes are.
Okay. So I was here, my name's Tim Lucci with Peter Zimmerman Architects. We were here, maybe it was 2 years ago, for this house. They did larger, sort of a reskinning of the facade, primarily in the back of the house, which was all stucco, which didn't match any of the stone or shingles on the existing house. And so we were approved, we got a certificate of appropriateness for all that work. We originally presented a site plan from the landscape architect, Jonathan Alderson Landscape Architects, which sort of was very, I guess, schematic in a way, in that he had developed some of the rear yard and the rear terrace a little bit. When we went in for permitting, we came to the board here for the certificate of appropriateness for the structure, which we received. When we went into for the site permitting, that landscape design changed a little bit. And so this is the permit that was sent in, it was been approved by the township, which shows a sort of a smaller landing with some steps, a proposed deck, and then the existing swimming pool. The reason I think we're here is because the township had asked us to come in because our renderings had changed slightly, and the materiality of that was ambiguous, right? We didn't really define it very well from the first presentation. So this was the original presentation we did 2 years ago of the back of the house. This part of the house is existing. It was all stucco. This part is new, and then this is the area where I'm here today to talk about. It's just this sort of landing that's in front of this rear door right here, which is disguised mostly by bushes, so it was sort of vague. It has a stone base, but the top of it wasn't shown. So currently now, this is the previous rendering as well, which shows that sort of terrace space. So this is the new rendering, which has a sort of a larger landing, which now matches the side of the house has been approved. And then this sort of deck space is surrounded by stone steps, but the infill part of it is wood decking. And I think that was sort of the concern that they were sort of bringing up, the deck is considered an accessory structure, and so that was the reasoning I was given why we were here. This is the footprint and the plan that was approved by the township site permitting, township zoning permitting. So, and obviously the reason they're doing that is it's an impervious coverage issue, so the decking is meeting that sort of qualification. This is sort of a similar view of the rear of it, which you would show how you would view that decking and the stone that surrounds it, and the landing above. This is if you were standing on the deck looking back toward the pool, and that's their, this is their property, this is their carriage house here. This property sits up pretty high. There's a very large sort of slope on the back, so there's no view from the back of the yard onto this property. Again, the idea is to sort of just have it sort of fit in very low. You're not, no one's going to really see it unless you're sort of, you know, most of the neighbors can't see it, but, yeah. And this is sort of, this is the side entry, which is part of the new construction. So that's sort of what this landing is going to be up here. So we're going to mimic that same landing, then it'll spill down toward a lower deck. So I just wanted to show you that sort of, so that would, for instance, come out that rear door. It's the same sort of door, it's a little larger, and then that deck would be on the backside down there. That's what that shows there. So this is the original part of the building, and this is, there was a connection there, a stucco sort of connection, and then this is sort of, we repurposed it, put an addition on, and then this is all sort of new in the back. And that's it.
Were you saying that
It's
the...
really turned out quite beautiful if you ever get over down that
Oh,
street.
yeah, I'm sure.
Looks amazing.
I'm just curious, were you saying that the center of the deck being wood was for impervious as opposed to putting in flagstone there?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
They're allowing that as a pervious surface,
yeah.
the wood deck,
Because it has a gap in it?
you sure?
Yeah, that's my understanding.
Which is good to know for future decking projects.
Regardless, it meets, it meets,
Yeah,
if it's
yeah.
not, I mean, I don't know for sure.
No, I
I
don't
didn't.
know.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not for
I
us to
think
opine
I'm
on.
pretty sure.
That's not our ground.
That's not our
Okay.
thing.
Yeah.
But for me, the height of it doesn't reflect or intrude on any way for the rest of the structure
Yeah,
from a design perspective. It's more of a patio than it is a raised deck,
Yeah,
based on no need for rails, no need for,
Correct.
guardrails or handrails or anything, because it's only it's two steps, and you don't.
Yeah, I mean, I could see the concern, if you're gonna put a large deck off the back of your house, you might, and some of these historic structures might be concerned for neighbors. This is not that.
might be, but we also approve large decks.
Okay.
So
Well,
it's-
depends.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. Any other questions? I think this is totally fine.
I move for a certificate of appropriateness.
I'll second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
Thank you, appreciate your time.
Yeah. Before we adjourn, the next HARB meeting is scheduled for July 2nd, 2025 at 6:30. Applications must be submitted on or before June 17th. Motion to adjourn.
Motion approved.
So adjourned.
Well done.
Welcome to the board.
Yeah, thank you.
You did great.